Clayton, this is a video response to your video. I forget the title, but you had asked, you wondered if other people thought about what it would have been like had you transitioned much earlier, and you mentioned in your teens, possibly even in your teens. Do you wonder about what your life would have been like if you had transitioned that early? I'm 43, and if you are familiar with my videos, you know, but if not, I recently, this year, got my my letter to go ahead and start my T, and within, I forget if it was days or a week, got my diagnosis of recurrence. So I have advanced ovarian cancer, and I can't go on hormones, so I'm not going to be able to continue to physically transition. However, yes, and I think I've even talked about this in some of my videos, I thought about this and used to wonder about this for years, but I really didn't accept it as an option for me. Really wasn't aware that it was really an option for me, and only started really thinking about it when Boys Don't Cry came out, when that movie came out. But that's another story. But I think transition at any age is difficult, and for different reasons. There's a guy on here who is, there's a couple of them that I've seen that are teenagers in high school. Hench is one of them, who I mentioned before, who's going through high school, transitioning, and the difficulties that come with that. And would I change anything personally? Hell yes. Yes. In fact, I believe, well, female puberty for me was catastrophic. Emotionally for me, it was horrible. It was the absolute validation that I was born the female gendered, and there was no way that I could deny it anymore. So that was horrible. And then at 40 years old, finding out that I was 38 when I was first diagnosed with ovarian cancer, for me was an absolute validation that those parts should have never been in there in the first place. So I was happy to get rid of them, not for that reason, but so at any age, I don't know if this is making sense, or I'm not thinking in a very linear way, so I hope you can follow. But I will say, though, that being socialized, I feel like I was really socialized very much as a female and as male, which is a little odd, but I was raised I think I had a very odd upbringing. My father used to call me his son, his daughter. And my brother is sort of artsy. He's straight, but he's an artsy guy. And I was the son that my father never had. And that's pretty much the way he treated me. So I really did get to hang out with my dad. We were sort of like father and son, hanging out and doing things, very boy things, masculine stuff. And, you know, fishing and, you know, sharking and driving and shaving. He taught me how to shave. I mentioned that in another video, with a toothbrush, of course. But I always wondered what my life would have been like if I had had the opportunity to transition. It blows my mind, because I can't even imagine having the ability to, at the time, I don't think information wasn't available to me as a 16-year-old the way it is today. You can't just, there was no YouTube. You didn't just hop online. I think my senior year in high school, I think, is when the computers actually were delivered to the high school in some of the classes. So information was just not available. But had it been, and I knew this was a possibility, and I had a chance to correct what I knew was wrong back then, it would have been amazing. However, I can't imagine going through that at that age. And, you know, there's good and bad things, there's positive and negative things about everything. I have had a lot of life experience, and it's pretty cool for the guys that get to transition later in life who have been socialized female, I think end up being really awesome men, because they have got a point of view that most women would love their men to have. I think we make fantastic men. My life would have been very different. I think I would not have been as depressed and self-destructive as I was, and I know that I share this with a lot of trans guys. You know, I mean, I don't understand. I have a hard time understanding why people don't see how difficult this is for us. If a cisgendered man was born without a penis, man, he'd be on Oprah and there'd be 15 doctors calling within an hour to help him. But for some reason, people don't see us that way, because if you look at something and it looks like one thing, in a lot of people's mind, that's it. And you can't convince them otherwise. I don't know. What else did you say? So how much better off is a guy in his teens going to be versus an older guy over 30s? You know, I think that remains to be seen. But if I had had my choice, I would have done it in a heartbeat. To match my body to my mind, to my brain, would have been incredible. It would have been incredible. And from what I see, a lot of guys that transition that early, or even in their 20s, there's a whole other topic here too about being sure and making sure that somebody's mature enough to really make that decision. And, you know, I think there's a possibility that some people, it might be better for them to wait to really make sure that this is for them. But I know in my case, there was never a question. I felt like there was something wrong that needed to be corrected, and I had no language for it, or really no access to fixing that problem that didn't seem fixable. So I'm not so sure if they're better off or not, but I can say for me, I feel like I would have been. And you know, so I don't know, I hope that makes some sense, and I really appreciate your video, and I hope you get a lot more responses, and talk to you later. Thanks, bye-bye.